The operatives in Enugu State have arrested 6 notorious gunmen linked to several violent crimes in the state and recovered a large cache of sophisticated weapons and ammunition. The suspects, who are said to have been on the security watch list for months, were reported to have been apprehended during coordinated operations carried out by security agencies. The Enugu State Governor Peter Amba, while inspecting the recovered weapons at the headquarters of the Department of State Services in Enugu, described the arrest as a significant victory against criminality. Amba commended security agencies for their professionalism, courage, and unwavering commitment to protecting life and property.
This opportunity to commend the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for his commitment to security. As you may know, just recently the National Assembly, I think the House of Representatives, just passed the first reading of the Constitutional Amendment Bill, where we hope to have the introduction of state police. This is essentially going to further empower the police and help us to eliminate the tragedy of the common. What I call the tragedy of the common, because we need to essentially put security where it squarely belongs. I believe that as states, we must take full responsibility to ensure that within the borders of our states, that we provide effective security to our citizens. And this is, in my view, what the introduction of state police would accomplish. We have also received the funds to go ahead and ensure that all the training institutions are rehabilitated, reconstructed, and renovated.
The charge landlords and property owners to conduct proper background checks on prospective tenants, stressing that ignorance will no longer serve as an excuse where property is linked to criminal activities.
The law has imposed that duty on you. You must ensure that you know who you are renting your house to as a landlord. So you have that duty imposed on you by law. So it's your responsibility to do that. I guess what you have observed recently is that people are, particularly those who are also criminally minded, they are getting so bored that Enugu has been so peaceful. So what they now, what they've taken to in recent time is now stretching their imagination and trying to conjecture things that do not exist, but things that are designed to create panic and fear to the people of Enugu State. So I want to seize this opportunity to tell the peaceful people of Enugu State not to pay attention to this criminal element, who now know that they cannot, in practice, carry out any attack on the state and get away with it. What we're witnessing here today is the triumph of vigilance, the triumph of hard work, the triumph of dedication to duty. Recall that sometime in December last year, we had an incident that took the lives of some of our officers. And if you also cast your mind back at the time, the state government actually offered a bounty to whoever would come up with information leading to the arrest of those men who attacked our security post. So what you see here today is a way of bringing to an end that chapter.
Led to the recovery of an alarming cache of weapons, including 17 AK-47 rifles, a general-purpose machine gun, a rocket-propelled rifle, hand grenades, tear gas canisters, and more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition. The arrest of the suspects and the recovery of sophisticated weapons is seen as a major boost to ongoing efforts to rid Enugu State of criminal elements. The Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde says the school children and their teachers abducted by suspected bandits in Yawota and Ahoro Esinle communities in the Orire local government area of the state are still within the old Oyo National Park. In a fresh update on efforts to rescue the abductees, who have been in captivity for 27 days, which were released on Friday, Makinde said the victims remain the focus of ongoing security operations. He acknowledged the pain and anxiety being experienced by the affected families, stating that although he had repeatedly assured residents that the victims will be rescued and reunited with their loved ones, he understood that such assurances might offer little comfort as the days continue to pass. The governor urged residents to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activities through the state's toll-free citizens inquiry number 615, assuring the public that all credible reports would receive prompt attention. The Borno State government has reintegrated a total of 720 men, 992 spouses, and 2,050 children who had repented and surrendered to troops after many of them were de-radicalized, disarmed, and rehabilitated. The latest categories of repentant insurgents who swore on the Holy Quran formed part of Batch 9 low-risk and minor clients who are to be reunited with their various communities across Borno State. This was disclosed by the Special Advisor to Governor Babagana Zulum on security, who was also a member of the De-Radicalization, Rehabilitation and Reintegration of Repentant Insurgents, retired Brigadier General Abdullahi Ishaq, at a colorful ceremony which took place at the Hajj camp on Friday. Said the event, which marks another milestone in the Borno model non-kinetic approach to the fight against terrorism in the northeast region of Nigeria generally and Borno State in particular. The women, according to General Ishaq, were also trained in catering services, knitting, cup making, tailoring, and soap making, among other skills. The National Identity Management Commission has commenced training and certification of more than 4,000 staff members nationwide as data protection officers as a major step towards safeguarding the personnel information of Nigerians who enrolled in a national identity number system. The initiative being implemented in partnership with the Nigeria Data Protection Commission comes amid growing concerns globally over data breaches, cyber threats, and the misuse of personal information. Speaking at a press conference in Abuja, NIMC Director General Abisoye Koka Odusote said the program underscores the Commission's determination to strengthen public confidence in the country's identity management system by ensuring that citizens' data are protected in line with international standards. She explained that the training would equip staff with advanced knowledge of data privacy, governance, cybersecurity, breach prevention, and incident response, while fostering a culture of accountability across the Commission. On its part, the National Commissioner and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria Data Protection Commission, Vincent Olatunji, described the exercise as unprecedented within the country's data protection ecosystem. It disclosed that NIMC is the first public institution to undertake the certification of its entire workforce as data protection officers, describing the move as a model for other government agencies. With over 120 million records already captured and millions more expected to be enrolled, experts say the success of Nigeria's digital transformation agenda will depend largely on the ability of institutions to protect citizens' data from abuse, unauthorized access, and cyber threats. The presidential candidate of Nigeria Democratic Congress, Peter Obi, says there is no reason for the leader of indigenous peoples of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, to be incarcerated. Obi, who spoke recently when he visited some Nigerians in Washington, D.C., United States, stated that no one should be arrested for speaking on radio. Said that as a politician, people usually call him names and that he does not see that as an offense. The former Anambra governor said that if elected president, he would engage with all agitators to understand their grievances and seek ways to resolve them. On the conduct of elections in Nigeria, the NDC presidential candidate noted that elections are rigged in Nigeria because Nigerians want it to be rigged, insisting that elections cannot be rigged if Nigerians stay in their polling unit after voting to protect their votes. A professor of pediatrics at the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, Joy Nkiru Eze, has called for urgent reforms in pediatric health care in Nigeria. Professor Eze made a call at the 242nd inaugural lecture of the University of Nigeria held at the auditorium of the CBN Center for Economics and Finance at the Enugu campus of the university. Correspondent Christopher Lele was at the event.
There has been growing concern about childhood respiratory illnesses in Nigeria, prompting calls for stronger intervention. At the 242nd inaugural lecture of the University of Nigeria, experts, policymakers, and health stakeholders examined the growing burden of the childhood ailments. The inaugural lecture drew health professionals, policymakers, academics, students, and community leaders, underscoring the national importance of pediatric respiratory health. The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Simon Otuahia, who was represented by the Deputy Vice-Chancellor in charge of administration, Professor Josephat Omowere, described the lecture as both timely and significant. He noted that rising respiratory health challenges among children require evidence-based responses and sustained attention of policymakers.
So on behalf of my boss, the Vice-Chancellor of University of Nigeria, Professor Simon Otuahia, I declare this inaugural lecture open. Thank you.
Delivering the lecture entitled Pediatric Respiratory Care in Nigeria, Pulling Down the Mountain and Building the Ladder, a professor of pediatrics and pediatric pulmonology, Joy Nkiru Eze, highlighted the growing burden of respiratory diseases among Nigerian children. Professor Eze called for greater investment in prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and healthcare infrastructure.
Currently, air pollution causes more than 9 million deaths out of the deaths related to environmental sources. So in our study, in checking the clinical profile and risk factors in patients admitted with acute respiratory infection, Chinawa et al. In this study published in the Current Respiratory Medicine Review in 2020 found out that the major causes of admission in these children who present with respiratory infection are pneumonia and bronchiolitis.
We are asking for support. We want the government to prioritize treatment, diagnosis and treatment of pediatric respiratory, and even prevention. Because they say prevention is better than cure. If we're able to prevent respiratory diseases, we will prevent the long-term effect, which is lung damage.
Enugu State Commissioner for Health, Professor George Ugu, praised the inaugural lecturer's contributions to child health care, describing her as a distinguished scholar whose work continues to shape pediatric practice and research in Nigeria.
Joy has always been strong, promising, and exceptionally brilliant, unassuming, and works exceedingly hard. So it's more or less expected that today we were waiting for today and today has come. She has excelled in all the realms of academic and professional life, and that is what it means to be an icon in medicine.
Colleagues and stakeholders commended the depth of the lecture, noting that its recommendation provide valuable insights for addressing persistent respiratory health challenges and improving outcomes for children nationwide.
One thing I have learned is to keep on working hard. Mind and remember that the children should be allowed to live. They should be allowed to exist.
For family members, the occasion was both a celebration of achievement and a reflection on years of dedication, hard work, and service that could inspire future generations.
I thank God. I thank God for her. Huh? The day I want her, I thank God for her. But today, I thank God for her. Huh? That's my child. It's very, 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 very have brain. Huh? It's a primary school. It's a wonderful. Huh? And the school. All the school know her. About know the thing where so, I thank God for her. I'm very, very happy. Like the day where I born her. I feel very happy for this day because it's a celebration of realization of hard work coming to fruition. Is a lady, very good woman that is focused in whatever she's doing. And this is the result of her hard work manifesting today's inaugural lecture. So I'm very, very happy. And I thank God for that.
The event climaxed the presentation of certificates, award, and gifts to the inaugural lecturer in recognition of her academic excellence and contributions to medicine and child health. Health experts agree that tackling pediatric respiratory diseases will require stronger policies, improved healthcare funding, expanded access to specialist care, and sustained public awareness to protect the lives of Nigeria's children. In Enugu, Christopher Lele, Signature TV News.
The Enugu State Government has taken another significant step towards expanding access to electricity and accelerating rural development with the signing of an agreement for the electrification of 4 underserved communities in the state. Initiative supported by the European Union, the German government, and private renewable energy developers is expected to provide clean and sustainable electricity to thousands of residents who have lived without reliable power for years. Speaking during the ceremony, Chairman of the Enugu State Electricity Regulatory Commission, Chika Okonkwo, described the project as a major milestone in the quest to deliver electricity to unserved communities. Okonkwo said a grant for the project will cover the procurement of critical infrastructure, including solar panels, batteries, inverters, poles, cables, and other equipment required for the installation of integrated solar mini-grids with a minimum generation capacity of 200 kilowatts in each community.
They have done their homework in the sense that these four communities fall into the category of 413 communities that have been identified that are either underserved or unserved. So we have done our homework to first identify the communities, ensure that there are no electricity infrastructure in that place, that somebody will come and lay claims tomorrow and say, no, I started my own project that I want to complete it. No. We don't expect that there will be any form of encumbrances. And these developers have engaged with the communities to get the communities buy-in to their project. So the communities have already welcomed them in, identified land for them, and signed their exclusivity agreement, which was one of our major requirements, that they are willing to have them come into their own space and set up the project.
Secretary to the State Government, Professor Chika, who stood in for Governor Peter Mba, said the partnership aligns with the administration's vision of transforming Enugu into a leading investment destination through strategic infrastructure development. The Commissioner for Energy, Mineral Resources, Franklin Aina, stated that achieving the administration's ambitious economic growth target will require dependable power supply across both urban and rural communities. The deployment of a solar mini-grid systems in the 4 benefiting communities of Okpara, Walker, Agunta, and Ijabe is expected to be completed within 6 months. Veteran actor and comedian Chief Chika Okpara, popularly known as Chief Zebrudaya Korigwe of a legendary NTA television sitcom New Masquerade, recently turned 76. At a brief ceremony organized by friends and admirers, Chika Okpara expressed gratitude to Almighty God for preserving his life and granting him good health over the years.
Yeah, we're here. Well, thank you God for this. The students have come to honorable me with Silver Club Napoleon. Napoleon walking and walking. Yeah? Chika was a good chopper. Choppers. So I'm so happy. Thank you very seriously, the students of Bishop Okoye. I know you will never forget me, and I will never forget you.
Yes. In Jesus' name.
I'm in cultural office, and the chief cultural director and cultural teacher are here.
Yes.
So if there was this show without this, the man will be the show. Yeah? Because the man of cultural. Thank you very, very seriously, and I'm so happy to be alive today. That I'm 76 years.
Oh! Look at this guy. Look at this guy. 70.
I've tried. I have shown what I could be able to be done.
Yes.
To the public.
Yes.
Entertainment-wise.
Yes.
I also used the occasion to appreciate Nigerians for their love and support throughout his career and urged them to continue promoting peace, unity, and national development. The brief event, which took place at the Godfrey Okoye University Thinkers Corner, featured the cutting of birthday cake and accompanying songs.
S. Yes. U.
Yes, Jesus.
Hey! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you! How old are you now? How old are you now? How old are you now? How old are you now?
I am +1 today. I am +1 today. I am +1. I am +1. I am +1 today.
The event was witnessed by student leaders, members of the Chika Okpara Book Presentation Organizing Committee, and family members, including the wife of a veteran entertainer. Elon Musk on Friday became the world's first trillionaire after shares in a SpaceX rocket company soared during the biggest ever stock market debut. Tesla and SpaceX founder comfortably cemented his status as the world's richest man, with his total net worth standing at $1.1 trillion, according to the Bloomberg Rich List. It came as the rockets, telecommunications and artificial intelligence company listed on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange with a value of $2.2 trillion. The company said its shares would be offered at $135 each, but trading opened at $150 and briefly reached $176.50, and a show of investor enthusiasm for potential business related to space and companies associated with Musk. SpaceX shares closed on Friday at about $161. Musk's status as the world's first trillionaire immediately sparked debate about wealth inequality, with his wealth now similar to the entire economic output of Poland or Switzerland. The European Union has announced that Ukraine and Moldova will officially begin the next stage of a journey towards joining the EU by next week, with formal membership talks with both countries. At a meeting in Brussels on Friday, ambassadors from 27 EU nations agreed to officially recommence negotiations with the two countries in Luxembourg on Monday. EU leaders had agreed to open the talks in December 2023, but negotiations were paused due to opposition from Hungary, led by the time by pro-Russian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. European Council President Antonio Costa and European Union President Ursula von der Leyen said in a joint social media post that all member states agreed to open the first accession negotiations with Ukraine and Moldova. Entry negotiations with Kiev were formally opened in June 2024, kick-starting a complex process that usually takes years and involves negotiations on everything from agriculture to the rule of law. In sports, the United States on Friday night delivered one of the most impressive features if they hope to remain in the race for qualification. First match of Group B between Canada and Bosnia-Herzegovina. The result keeps both nations firmly in contention as the group stage continues. That's the news. I am Barikumo Ado. Thank you very much for watching.